Lesson 8. Millions of people are asking themselves every day the question, why is it that some are so rich and some so poor? Some successful and others, in spite of all their endeavors, scarcely able to make ends meet. You have probably noticed that not always do those who work hardest and longest and are the most honest get the best rewards, while many who seem never to exert themselves to any degree and are not too particular of the methods they use win with effortless ease the fortune for which less favored ones strive in vain. At first glance that seems unfair, yet it is not so. There is always a reason for everything that happens. If there is an effect, there must be a cause, and that cause usually corresponds directly to the effect. What appears to be haphazard, irrational, is in reality the outcome of the most logical natural processes. But it is only when we perceive and understand those processes that events resolve themselves into the proper perspective and assume the right proportions one to the other. The immediate causes of poverty are twofold: physical and mental. The physical cause is the brain itself, the material instrument through which the qualities of your individuality must pass to find expression. The mental cause is in that part of your threefold being, called mind. There is a direct and intimate relation between the two, the physical cause being the projection into substance of the mental one. Let us consider first the physical cause. There are within that human brain of yours all kinds of centers which not only control the various functions of the body, but which also act as channels through which your different human qualities are expressed. Each center is identified with a particular quality, physical, mental, or emotional, for which it is the transmitting medium. Some centers, for instance, would control the expression of emotional qualities, like religious faith, love, joy, etc. Others physical qualities, such as natural aptitude in tasks requiring manual skill. And still others purely reasoning powers. Phrenology long ago perceived the truth back of this, but though it was able, by a study of the bumps on the human skull, to estimate roughly the degree of the development of the respective brain centers underneath, and consequently the degree to which the corresponding qualities are manifested in the life of the individual, it never attempted to modify that development by discovering and controlling the cause. The extent to which any center can express the quality it represents depends wholly on its ability to contact and transmit universal life energy. If the contact is blurred and uncertain, that quality will trickle into only feeble expression. If the contact is sound, it will be manifested to the full strength of the current poured into it. In that respect, the brain centers are comparable to so many differently colored bulbs, each color standing for a separate quality. There is only one original and differentiated current of life force flowing from the solar plexus into the various centers, by way of the nerve systems, just as there is only one original current of electricity flowing to an assortment of colored bulbs. The electrical current produces inside each bulb the same white light, but that light, in passing through the colored film of glass and closing it, borrows the tint of the glass and appears on the outside as a light of the corresponding color. So with universal life energy, it becomes differentiated into powers possessing the qualities of the centers through which it flows. That is, one original power produces different effects because of the difference in the channels through which it passes, and those different effects are strong or weak in proportion as the current producing them was admitted in greater or lesser quantities. The more a center opens itself to the influx of universal life energy, the more it is able to open itself. In doing that work of transforming the life current into a power manifesting its own individual quality, it is also stimulated and strengthened into a rapid growth by the very force it handles. In other words, the more it works, the stronger it becomes. Every human being possesses within his brain all those various centers, but they do not all function equally well. With some of them, the contact is dull and feeble, and the amount of energy that filters in is no more than enough to keep them barely alive, to say nothing of furnishing them with strength to develop and the surplus to send on. Such centers need stimulation from outside to awaken them from their lethargy and open them to the vital surge of the universal life current. This stimulus you provide when you consciously make the contact with universal life energy for them, opening them to that initial flow which enlodges itself automatically by enlarging the channel through which it passes. The physical inability of some centers to contact that power outside may be due to their own lack of development, to a paralysis of them by overstrain, or to exhaustion. In any event, the effect is the same, since nothing can come out unless it first goes in. However, the first of these physical reasons is far more common than the others, and is less difficult to correct when once understood. Let us take, for instance, one center that connected with business and financial abilities. The individual who has this center properly developed has the power of turning everything he touches into money. A sure business instinct guides him through to the profitable end of every deal. Therefore, financially he is, of course, very successful. With most human beings, however, that center is in a very undeveloped condition. Like the colored bulb, it is there but dark, because it has not within itself sufficient power to turn the switch that connects it with the main current. Obviously, under such conditions, no matter how great a supply of power there may be outside, it is of no avail to the individual, since the channel for its expression is closed. Therefore, if you want to be rich, you must first open that channel within you and give to the dormant center inside your brain the power to function properly. To do this, it is necessary to go behind the physical lack of development of those nerve fibers in the brain and eliminate the mental cause back of it. That cause is fear, and is generally the product of conditions which governed the youth of the individual. Most children are born into families of limited means, and are accustomed from infancy to hear their parents discussing those material limitations. The most pressing concern of the parents is to make ends meet, and the spring of action which drives them daily to their tasks is the fear that they may not be able to do so. They are continually on the defensive, fighting to survive rather than to create. Dread of failure sets the keynote of their thoughts and tempers their conversation as well as their attitude toward life. And all this taken together naturally produces a certain negative impression on the child's mind. Because of the deadening influence of that negative mental condition, the center which controls the financial aspect of the child's nature is unable to develop normally. Grown up under those unfavorable circumstances, the individual lacks the proper confidence and ability to make money. The desire to make money is there, but it is overshadowed by an even greater fear of poverty, arid material limitations. Most people are and remain poor because their intense fear chokes off the activities of one center, which alone can bring into their lives the thing they lack yet desire with all their hearts: abundance. There are some who, sick at heart of leading a life of hardship and poverty, are goaded into blind revolt and determined to break the fetters which bind them. Through many years of hard work, after countless trials and failures, they finally succeed in bursting through the wall of their limitations and emerge into the sunshine of prosperity. Great courage, energy, perseverance, and above all an unflinching optimism are required in order to win that fight. Yet how few are able to express those qualities. The majority of human beings are doomed at birth to a handicap which they seldom overcome adequately. Fear is bred into them, unconsciously, perhaps, but the more subtly for all that, until they come to accept it as a natural condition instead of recognizing it for the poisonous drug it is, slowly but surely numbing one activity after the other and shutting them off just that much more each time from their rightful contacts with the world in which they live. Mental science, Realizing that this is a problem of mind, seeks a solution by trying to change thoughts of poverty into those of abundance through purely mental methods, like affirmation or suggestion. Many people, those of the more advanced way of thinking, practice these methods diligently, yet they usually fail. The reason for such failure is that mind alone is not able to develop a brain center which is still in an embryonic condition. Mind is a cold light. Its rays illumine, but they do not warm or energize. In order to be effective, it requires the cooperation of another and greater power, universal life energy. That power can flush the inactive center clean of its constricting fear and open the channel for genuine thoughts of abundance to flow through. There is another reason why mental methods are most often a complete failure. The effect of affirmations as they are generally used is exactly the reverse of what people expect it to be. That is because they do not even know how to use affirmations properly. For instance, they say, "I am wealth, affluence, abundance, etc." This is fundamentally wrong. You are not the thing you are wishing to realize in your life. At best, you can only be one with it. But the thing, like any ideal, must always remain outside and above you, a magnet attracting you to itself. Finally, even those who use the right kind of affirmations, those who say, "I am one with abundance, wealth, success," they usually are not able to realize that affirmation in their lives because the constant repetition of one statement, instead of stimulating the brain cells, tends to numb the very center which it is supposed to awaken. Therefore, very often the more an individual affirms wealth, the less he is able to demonstrate it, as that constant hammering of an unscientific affirmation stuns the corresponding center and prevents it from developing properly. Such attempts to gouge out the mental cause back of the physical disability are as inefficient as they are harmful. Fear is not a localized growth which can be amputated. It is a general condition which must be purged away. This universal life energy J is able to do, cleansing, stimulating and healing in accordance with natural laws instead of mangling by an unwise imposition of the human will. That wonderful power, properly directed to the financial brain center through a mental realization of one's unity with universal abundance, will stir it into action just as a seed in the ground, when it is touched by moisture and warmed by the sun's rays, is stirred to life. Then the more life energy is used, the more that center will be able to use it. The quicker it will develop, and the stronger its activities will be expressed in an ever-increasing power to manifest abundance. The first indication that the financial center has been properly stimulated will be felt rather than seen. You will become conscious of a novel sense of wealth, of abundance, within you. Next, you will discover that, whereas before you were scarcely able to make ends meet, now there is a little excess of earnings over expenses. Finally, that uncertain trickle of excess will swell gradually to a steady flow of affluence expressed in various ways, such as increase of salary, better business, unexpected opportunities for making money, etc. In this connection, you must remember always that you are the instrument through which universal life energy works. You cannot contact that power and then sit idle and expect it to work for you. It gives you the physical energy and the mental alertness to perceive and take advantage of opportunities, the judgment to know the right course, and the boldness to act decisively and promptly. But your own brain and body are the tools which it must use. Then when your financial center is developed, the energies which before were misdirected will operate through it to attract wealth and affluence. The second of the physical reasons why that center may be unable to function, paralysis of it from overstrain, is apt to make its appearance at this point. If the individual is impatient and, by exaggerated efforts to make money or meet demands, tries to exact from it more power than it can yield, he will produce that condition. It is much more difficult to restore a center thus affected than to develop one which is undeveloped. In order to obtain the best and quickest results, it is necessary to let universal life energy work undisturbed in accordance with its own natural laws. Any attempt to force that work through personal willpower instead of accelerating the growth of the center will kill it. Hothouse growth is never lasting. Simply be patient. Wait for the gradual and healthy development of your financial center, and do not despise the results at first obtained. On the contrary, accept them joyfully and gratefully, thus making yourself ready to receive more. An attitude of dissatisfaction or impatience, prompting you to demand more of the center than it is then capable of producing, spoils everything that has been accomplished so far. It is like choking an engine by too sudden a demand on it, so that instead of supplying the added power it stops completely. In these rare cases where the financial center is paralyzed, the same treatment as for the stimulation of an undeveloped center, described in the exercises for this lesson, is to be used. However, it is a much more difficult matter and will take a longer time to restore that center to its normal function than would have been necessary to develop it only. The third physical cause, a center which is exhausted or dried up, is of all three the worst because such a center is practically dead. There is no life in it. The cause of such a condition is usually the misuse of money power, as by misers or spendthrifts. Yet through the application of universal life energy, those sapless tissues can eventually be nursed into activity and then brought up to normal. Although the results in this instance may not begin to manifest themselves for a very long time, nevertheless they can be achieved by perseverance and the continual use of universal life energy. The physical reasons for the inactivity of any center, and the mental causes of which they are the products, are in general the same. Their operation and how to cure them has been described specifically in relation to one center, the financial one, as an example of how they work in other centers. The single piece partakes of the qualities of the whole and is much more easily analyzed. Yet there are finer and more subtle aspects which should be understood in order to get a clear perspective. If you want to be rich, you must first genuinely feel that way before its actual materialization will take place in your life. To feel rich, you must also know what wealth is. Wealth is not money so much as it is the use to which money is put. A miser is poor because neither he nor anyone else gets any benefit from his hoarded gold. A debtor owing 1,000,000 may be rich because of the use to which he puts his borrowed money and because of the things he creates to fill needs and serve others. Money is a power which was here when you were born and will be here when you die, an impersonal force which you can neither bring into the world nor take out of it. In proportion as you are able and fitted to be a custodian of that power, you will win riches. You are a channel open at both ends. The stream of money power will flow into you at one end in exact accordance with your capacity to give it out into expression as wealth at the other end. There is a natural law called the law of compensation which says that one receives in proportion as he gives. If you want the universal to be generous to you, first you must learn to be generous yourself. The more you are of service to others, the more the world will be of service to you with its various treasures of infinite supply. Forced generosity is not true giving. In order to receive, you must learn to give freely, spontaneously and joyfully, knowing that it will be immediately replaced within you. That is natural giving, and as nature does not permit a vacuum, there will always be a compensating supply. But if you give reluctantly, with the fear that by so doing you are depriving yourself and making a sacrifice, you profit neither yourself nor others. Your gift will be poisoned by the sense of fear and limitation you put into it, and that same fear will paralyze and make void the little activity of your own financial brain center. Thus you close the channel in you and isolate yourself from the natural supply, So you are that much worse off than you were before. That is why so many kind-hearted people who sincerely want to help others and try to do so succeed only in impoverishing themselves. It seems unfair and prompts one to question if giving is worthwhile in the face of such disastrous results. Yet the reason such kind-hearted people are so poorly rewarded is that, though animated by a kindly motive, they give ignorantly and with fear. Intelligent and joyful giving, with the knowledge that you give not of your own, but of the infinite abundance which is flowing through you, will bring about entirely different results. The very physical channels within you, the center through which universal life energy is manifested as abundance, will be properly stimulated and will function accordingly. Then you will become richer all the time, as the developing capacity to use money brings you more money to use. Giving is not limited to money or material things only. You can give of your intelligence, your energy, your inspiration, your time. They are all very valuable, usually more valuable than money or material things. Give them without grudging, without limiting yourself, unreservedly, wholeheartedly, joyfully. Feel within yourself that you are giving from the superabundance you contact. Thereby you will open to that very abundance the opportunity to materialize itself in your life as wealth and prosperity. That is what is meant by vibrating to abundance and prosperity. Exercises. This week, in addition to the star exercise morning and evening, you are to commence a new exercise which will give a certain direction to the current of life energy contacted by you during the relaxation and silence. It is called the contact with infinite supply of all wealth, and its purpose is gradually to enable you to transmute more of the universal force into abundance by developing the physical organ in your brain for that transmutation. Perform it as follows. During the silence, after you have made the mental contact with universal life energy and feel it flowing through you, think strongly of abundance and the infinite supply of all you need. Realize to yourself the statement, I am expressing infinite wealth. It is now flowing through me. I am one with it. Thus you start the corresponding center within your brain vibrating in response to your thought vibrations. The life energy you contact will then flow by way of the spinal nerve system to that center, there to be transformed into vibrations of prosperity and projected through you into material realization in your life. Remember this point also, that you must naturally continue to strive for abundance, for a great supply. Your mental work will guide you to the right source of that supply, will discover to you opportunities for contacting it, but it is for you to take bold and vigorous advantage of those opportunities. The familiar saying that you can lead a horse to water but you cannot make it drink applies here. Universal life energy can place you in direct relation with the supply, but your conscious self has to draw it in. Mental work alone is not sufficient. Simply to contact mentally universal abundance and then not take the necessary steps to get it is useless. You live on the physical plane as well as on the mental one, and the cooperation of the two is required to produce results. Questions and answers. 1. What is the fundamental cause of poverty? The fundamental cause of poverty is fear. 2. How does this cause express itself? This cause expresses itself by preventing the development and operation of the financial center within the brain of the individual. 3. How can it be overcome? It can be overcome only by the use of universal life energy. 4. What are the physical channels through which the qualities of the individual are expressed? The physical channels through which the qualities of the individual are expressed are brain centers, each of which corresponds to a certain definite quality. 5. What determines the degree to which those qualities are manifested? The degree to which these qualities are manifested is determined by the degree to which the corresponding brain centers are able to function. 6. How does the original and differentiated current of universal life energy become differentiated in the individual? The original and differentiated current of universal life energy becomes differentiated in the individual by assuming the qualities of the various centers through which it passes. 7. What role does environment play in the development of a child, especially in relation to its financial brain center? The role played by environment in the development of a child, especially in relation to its financial center, is such development is largely molded by environment, so that if the parents have a defensive and fearful attitude toward poverty, that fear is bred into the child and prevents the natural development of its financial brain center. 8. To what 3 immediate causes may the inability of any brain center to function be due? The 3 immediate causes for the inability of any brain center to function may be: 1. Lack of development, due to fear. 2. Paralysis of the center, due to overstrain. 3. Exhaustion of the center, due to abuse. 9. Why are purely mental methods for overcoming poverty inadequate? Purely mental methods for overcoming poverty are inadequate because they lack the creative and energizing power of universal life energy. 10. How can abundance be most successfully demonstrated? Abundance can be most successfully demonstrated by allowing universal life energy to develop the corresponding center within you in accordance with its own natural laws. 11. What attitude in giving prevents the operation of the law of compensation? The attitude in giving which prevents the operation of the law of compensation is an attitude of fear, so that the gift is given with inner reluctance and a sense of self-sacrifice which closes the physical brain center against a compensating supply. 12. What is the understanding of money essential for true giving? The understanding of money essential for true giving is that money is an impersonal power which expresses itself through you only in proportion as you are able to give it out in intelligent and constructive ways.